want to like check out.
Yeah, for sure. Helen, you got any New Year's resolution?
You know, I don't usually make resolutions. I
Mhm.
just like I'm I'm actually I don't make any resolutions, but I have a heightened awareness of my behavior patterns,
Mm,
like OD. Like I'm so task oriented to the point that it's I need to ease up on myself.
mm.
So
So a
yeah.
little added pressure in the beginning of the year.
No, like throughout the year.
You just
Some
recognize it at this time of the year?
I just really recognize it. Yeah, and I'm just like, okay, I need to kind of like balance, right? I think I read something. You know how people share memes on Facebook and Instagram, and most of them just okay, yeah, that's cute. You just gloss over them. When I read it was something like the ego wants everything in place before like to be at peace,
Mm,
right? But the self or the soul, whatever, needs to be able to find peace when everything is not in its place.
mm.
And for some that just woke me up and I was just like, oh my God. So I'm just hyper aware of that, the pressure I put on myself that a lot of people just don't understand.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I guess that's, I don't know, resolution, right? Because it didn't start like one day to the next. It's more like just recognizing yeah, like the pressure that I put on myself that probably isn't necessary. I don't know if that makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's it.
Cool. Marina, you got anything like to share? Resolution or
Well, I don't have none. I usually do, which is lose weight, do normal stuff, but it never works out. So I could say maybe not to stress stuff this year. I mean, I work with seeing the people that I see talk more, try to not like more talk out more, just not try to keep so much to yourself, like speak your mind type scenario. Usually I like to just keep a lot of stuff in, and then it builds up afterwards and then you blow up. So try to work through it, speak what you need to speak, say what you have to say, and if people don't get it or understand, just don't stress it. They're gonna eventually realize, you're you.
sure. Brenda, you got anything?
I don't make resolutions because I'm like, you do them for like maybe the first week and then that's it. Then you try next year and then try to do it for. So, but I know I'm one that I started like, I don't want to say cutting ties to people, but if it's not a beneficial relationship to me, I'm just letting them go. Like I don't need to stress out of over this and that when I have to worry about who's gonna wash dishes because I don't wash dishes in my house kind of situation. But and I feel bad saying that, but and it's not even like monetary or whatever. It's just regular people, family or not, like they're in my life, they're in my life. They're not in my life. It's okay, hope you have a good one kind of situation. But the goal that I did do this year specifically, and I actually like wrote it down, and I even pinpointed my cookie jar once my cookie jar is empty from the cookies that we bought, um, to give myself 2 years to buy a house. Like that was like one of my goals. Well, the only goal really. But then in that, I'm just like Marina, not stressing out. I don't need to stress out.
You got enough stress, right? So what you're all saying is that we're too old and jaded to have resolutions. They never work. No, I feel like I usually have something, but this year I don't have anything. It's just like a hope that the year is better, not worse, kind of thing. I feel like that's what all of us are like. I don't even want to like think about some new stuff. I just want to get back to like some normal stuff, um, and not have all the looming stress of a pandemic over our heads and stuff like that. So yeah, just uh just a hope more than a resolution. Um All right, cool. So let's get into the agenda. So the only thing that we added on there was another check-in about class picture stuff. Was there anything else that we wanted to bring in there? People looking at the agenda. All right, cool.
I know we talked about it last time. We never did the Thank Our Lucky Stars. Are we planning to do something still?
No, we never got anything together. But we can still, I think, brainstorm about like trying to organize some social event.
I feel like it's too, I don't know. I definitely like the idea of us doing something once a month where we just like bring
Yeah.
the community together. But I don't want us to be so overwhelmed by feeling like we have to do fundraisers at a time where, it's a crazy time right now. You guys are overwhelmed, sometimes dealing with teaching your own child at home. And so it might be a better use of our time to even just think about like one event a month where we just bring people together. But I don't want you to feel like you have to stress about book fairs and this and that and this because it's crazy right now. I don't know how
Yeah.
you guys feel, but because you're the ones that have to do all that hard work.
I was thinking, Sean, the way I don't remember what we did it for, but when the movie came out, The Trolls, we had our own little movie premiere you did with us. Maybe something like that.
Oh yeah, like on Zoom, we did a movie premiere thing for the kids.
And
Yeah,
the kids
yeah.
actually liked it. We all had our own little popcorn, our little like cups with whatever drinks, and to be honest, the kids were busy for more than 2 hours, right, Sean, by themselves. So I was like, oh, I was in the back. I'm like, let them scream, let them holler, let them do whatever because it's their kids. And then it was kind of nice for me to just to chill out and do nothing.
Yeah, for sure.
So maybe
Yeah,
that.
because remember I pointed that out. That could be, the case scenario, do the movie night thing, whatever, because Miss Isaac did the same thing for the class before the holiday and she made it a movie day. And my son stood still versus when they're teaching, he's chairs moving around, he's swinging around. But when they're sitting there watching a movie, they're staying still, like, seriously. So yeah.
Glued to something they've seen
They're
20
really
times
cute.
over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Miss
maybe
Green
like
is coming on
$1
that.
family
Yeah.
or something like that might be a fundraiser. We'll see.
You don't have to. It could. I love the idea of streaming a movie. I love a movie night. I think that's a great idea. I really do.
Yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you, Darlene, about the fundraising stuff. Like all the attempts that we've made this year to try to make a fundraiser happen has just been like some added stress. And logistically, we haven't been able to get it together for a couple reasons too, because like fundraising during this time is a different kind of fundraising. We're not in front of parents regularly. Like if the school was open fully, then we would be in the lobby talking to each other and having parent moments like that. But those kind of exchanges are not happening, so it becomes a little bit harder. And then of course, just like the people power, like before the holidays, none of us were really available to make anything happen. We might have a little bit more free time right now, but probably not much more. So yeah, definitely limiting events for sure. And maybe getting the feedback from the rest of the parents next week's meeting, like how they feel about it. And if people are really wanting to do fundraisers and stuff like that, also, being willing to step up and participate in organizing and all that kind of stuff, and not sometimes I feel like there's an expectation from the general PTA that the board members will do the work and that they just kind of show up kind of thing. When of course that's not the reality because we don't have superpowers. In fact, we're already probably doing, way more. And it's going to be off of their efforts in joint with us to make it happen. So yeah, so maybe we just keep it in the back of our minds as we're going through the agenda, not to overwhelm ourselves. So yeah, so the first thing then on the committee reports is we have to call for a formation of our budget committee. So the budget committee, I don't know if it's been organized in a while. It kind of basically just ends up being like the treasurer doing the budget in consult with the president and with Darlene kind of thing. Like, I think that's how it's worked in the past. But technically, the budget committee is a group of parents who come together. It could be members of the board. It could be other folks who join the budget committee. The treasurer doesn't have to be on the budget committee, but it kind of makes sense, I think, for the treasurer to be on the budget committee, Helen. But basically, the budget is our yearly plan of how we're going to, raise money, or what we're going to do with our money. Are we going to allocate money to anything? The budget is usually done at the end of the prior year, planning ahead to the next year. That, of course, didn't happen last year. So we haven't been running on a formal budget right now. We kind of just been freestyling it. But the budget does help for sure, planning out how we're going to approach fundraising and all that kind of stuff. And not only fundraising, but the budget is also like, are we going to donate $2,000 to help buy ventilation systems for a classroom? Are we going to, support some of the events happening at the school, or that the school's organizing, right? So the budget's a combination of fundraising and also what we're going to use the money on. And so basically the budget committee puts together the proposed budget that then gets submitted to the rest of the PTA. It really only acts twice a year. So in January, there is I guess it's called an interim budget, Darlene. I forget what it's called, but it's like a mid-year review of the budget. So any adjustments that have to be happening to the budget, in our case, maybe even just a rough formation of a budget to carry us through the rest of the year. And then again in May, June, another formation of the budget committee to, again, do it for the following school year. So at our next PTA meeting, we have to kind of call for a budget committee and see if anybody's down, and see if that committee could put together kind of like a little rough overview of what could be some potential plans. I think it's going to be a little bit of an easier task because it's probably not that much that we're planning, like we just said, but definitely something that we need to be on top of. Any thoughts or questions on the budget committee? Does it make sense?
It makes sense. The only thing I remember offhand was what needed to be adjusted was the expectation of the fundraisers, like that line of the amount of money that was expected to be raised during the school year. Like it was off. It wasn't, I think it was a little too high. That was the only thing that I really remembered.
Oh, last year's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was the 2019 budget. It was
Mhm.
like $22,000 or something like
I
that.
was like, who came up with this
Fundraising goal.
number?
Yeah, and it was a little off from our
Yes,
efforts.
I remember that.
Yeah.
So like every month, it was like we were kind of hustling to make a fundraiser happen and meet these goals. And we're like, yo, this is kind of unrealistic for us to meet these goals. And we're a Title I school. We should think about fundraising in a different kind of way than sourcing it from parents per se.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the only thing I have to add.
So what I could do too is today I can circulate the last budget that we had, just so y'all can see how it looks visually. So when we're discussing it at next week's meeting, y'all can all speak to it if parents have questions. Then the next one is, so we still had slated, again, we're not firmly committed to this, but we still had slated the Scholastic Book Fair happening from February 1st to the 14th. That is something that is easily reschedulable because it's a virtual book fair. And so initially it was supposed to be in person, but now it's virtual still. Some schools are doing in-persons. So Scholastic was like asking me, oh, is this going to be in person? I was like, oh, no, not even close. So yeah, that's a good idea, Darlene, to share the last budget as a screen share during the PTA meeting. So yeah, so how do people feel about those dates, the February 1st to the 14th Scholastic Book Fair? There was also a proposal at the last PTA meeting from Dina, one of the parents, asking when we would do the readathon. And then we had like a conversation like, oh, maybe in the middle of March, going into April, doing a readathon, and that might be good as a follow-up to the Scholastic Book Fair. So we could theoretically do the Scholastic Book Fair in this first 2 weeks of February or later in February or even February into March, and then followed up with the readathon. How do people feel about it all?
I like that. Like do the scholastics in the first 2 weeks of February. So then if we do the readathon in the first week of March, that'll kind of go into it. Especially now Eva's like on this reading kick. So I know I'm gonna be buying books out the wazoo for her to start reading and stuff like that. So I think that works because then they get to actually enjoy their new books and actually put them to use more for this readathon.
As well as that week they're off from school, so they could start reading from there as well.
What week is that? February?
Yeah, in February. They're off in February. They have that I think it's the winter one, right? Yeah.
Yes, we have
Yeah.
the winter break.
Yeah.
I
So they
will
off
say-
on that week.
You know, like the President's Week, like February, Lincoln's
okay, yeah.
birthday.
Yeah. So if you were to do it then they have that week to be like, okay, I could read. I got these new books and so forth from there, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we think the February 1st through the 14th is still good dates to stick with.
Yeah, and then throw some Valentine stuff in it.
Yeah, for sure. There's also the Candygram. Go ahead.
No, you just read, like literally took it right on my head as soon as I said about the candygrams. Are we still gonna do that? Still on site, sort of ish.
It's kind of cold that time of year. I'm like second week of February. Oh, I ain't trying to stand outside of a table with some hard ass chocolate.
Such an unusual year, and usually we would do the candygrams to like fundraise for the fifth grade graduation, and but I just don't see things happening like that right now. So I don't think we have to do candygrams. Again, I just feel like that's some added pressure that I don't want us to feel the weight of that. Because it's just not, you know, we don't have that many kids in the building. On an average day, we have like, we're supposed to have 55 kids every day. We have not gone past 33 yet. So that's how many like days that kids are absent or out or sick. So I almost feel like Candygram won't have the same oomph that it used to have.
Yeah.
But the love theme, the theme of love for the book fair, I love that idea, Marina. I think that that's kind of how we kind of get that in there, just like that Valentine's love theme.
Love of books, yeah.
Yeah, and then
Love
it goes
of
right
reading.
into the readathon, you know, in March. I think that's great. And then even when you think about that readathon in March, it, there's the April break also, and so there's more opportunities for kids to read books. So we could play with it for sure.
Yeah, speaking of the Candygram, I forgot to put it on the agenda, but I'm gonna mention it now. So Helen, we got to figure it out, and probably Marina. I have like a couple $100 in reimbursements that I still need processed. So because I was thinking the Candygram last year, I basically fronted like $400 for it. So I think the way that Celsa was recommending is if we do have virtual means of money transfer, like our PayPal account, that I just submit reimbursement forms to the treasurer and of course the vice president, since I'm the president. So y'all just look over the reimbursements forms, and if y'all are approving of it, we could do a PayPal transfer. Jenny's like, remember to get your reimbursements. I'm like, yeah. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I forgot, but I remember now. So, but in any case, yeah. So I think that also, if we're thinking 1 month, one event a month, and we're thinking February book fair, March readathon, then that kind of sets us up well. I remember the book fair, we get 25% of all money spent, so that's good fundraiser. And it's kind of passive, we're put up a bunch of posts on Class Dojo to encourage people to do it, and maybe do a video here and there, but it's not like we're running a bookstore like we've done in years past. And then the readathon is also a fundraiser, because basically people are making financial pledges to support the kids as they're trying to reach their reading goals. So those are those are both fundraisers, but also not much that we have to do. You know, it's not going to be too logistically straining. So yeah, so if we are going to do that, then this weekend, this next weekend's meeting, we should also call for that formation of the book fair committee. There's a couple of people who already expressed interest. So just like getting a meeting organized, and then of course getting out the first announcement of it, probably before, you know, we like to get, for events, we like to get an announcement out 2 weeks prior. So it's gonna be February 1st, then maybe next Friday or the following Monday, getting out the first announcement, prepping people for the book fair. Any other thoughts on the book fair?
Wanted to make it an event on Class Dojo. You could also just put it in the calendar now, and that way people will see that it's coming up.
Right.
Do we get any like out? I know last year you guys decorated that room to a T. Do they send us still any like decorations that we could put like out in the schoolyard so the families do still see it? The one, since
Yeah, they
you know
said
the
they
parents
would.
can't come into the building, and like you know how we normally go to the class to see it. I know we go on dojo and the kids always tell us, but I think for like other parents, like at least they see a sign when they drop their kids off as well.
Sean, do you know if Scholastic said that they would send a box since we said it was going to be remote, or
Yeah, they said they would. They said that's
send a
unlimited
box?
stuff. Yeah,
Do you
they'll
think
send
they
a
would have
box.
sent it already, or we have to request it?
I'll follow up with them.
Okay. Oh, wait,
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Give me 1 second.
no problem. I'll follow up with them and see if they are going to send anything or if they sent anything already.
You think there might be a box downstairs?
Oh yeah,
It might even be from last year, now that I think about it, because we wouldn't have had our end of year book fair. So when we finish this call, I'll run downstairs and see what it is, and I'll send you a quick email to let you know.
perfect. Thank you. All right, cool. So yeah, so next thing on the agenda is just a quick review of the calendar, the yearly calendar. So basically, we've been kind of playing catch up on meetings and getting meetings organized a little bit too last minute for any of our comfort. And so I wanted to make sure that I went through the dates for the rest of the year, so we get those dates together. So I sent out that to everybody yesterday. It's in your inbox. Basically, those dates are set based off of the bylaw recommendations. So the bylaws recommend that our board meetings happen on the first of every month, unless that falls on a holiday, then it falls on the following Wednesday, so on and so forth. So that's what those dates are. And Darlene also reminded us that just remember that if our board meeting is a day or two before our general meeting, that we're still getting out the 10-day notice for our general meetings. And my feeling is like we should, the day after our general meeting next week, we should put in Class Dojo the following month's general meeting, right? Like don't even wait to 10 days, like just have it sitting in Class Dojo as a calendar event, but not doing it too far in advance because you don't want to have like multiple events and people get a little confused about it. But if you saw on there's SLT meetings that we are encouraged to go to. I'm a mandated member, but everyone's encouraged to go for sure. SLT meetings are the first Monday of each month, right, Darlene? First Monday of each month.
In general.
So those dates are in there. I missed it this week. I honestly, I just totally forgot. You know, still in holiday mode, and then Jody text me like, "Yo, you wasn't at the meeting." I'm like, "Oh." So in any case, I know Brenda, you were there for a little bit on Monday's meeting, but definitely we want to have that presence there. Obviously, the mandated things are the PTA board meetings, which we've agreed to be at 10:30 a.m. And so those dates are in there. Then the other mandated thing is the general meetings, and those we agreed to be at 5 p.m. and those dates are in there as well. The other things that are in there, the President's Council meeting that I attend, that's every second Friday of the month. So that is something that I mandated to be at, but anyone's invited to join and participate. So if you're interested in going to the President Council's meeting, let me know. Also, CPAC, which is the Council of Parents Advisory Committee. I don't know. It's like the big um citywide or there's more than district. Is it only Manhattan? I'm not sure, but it's definitely like the bigger parent body.
Parent Advisory Council, I
There we
think.
go. And they're the ones that also have been able to engage the chancellor pretty regularly, getting him to participate in those meetings. All of us are definitely encouraged to go to that. And especially if you want to speak to the chancellor or have your opinion heard to the by the chancellor, the CPAC committee, the CPAC general meetings are definitely something to go to. The next one's going to be on January 14th at 9:30. It's all on Zoom, which is good. And then the other thing that was in there is the council, president council's board meetings. We have check-ins with the DOE now. So every other week I have to do this check-in thing. That is, I wouldn't even, don't even worry about that. That's just something that's a headache for me. They're like, can you meet every 2 weeks in addition to everything else? I'm like, I guess, sure, whatever.
So Sean,
Yeah.
don't want to interrupt, and I love the fact that you are enthusiastic about attending all of those things, but I also don't want you to feel pressured by them, because when they see somebody is effective and efficient and amazing, they will like jump on you and be like, "Oh my God, where have you been?" and try and get you to do all of these things. But it's really really challenging to do all of that and your PTA stuff. And oh, by the way, do you have a life? Do you have a child you have to take care
Yes.
of? Are you doing remote learning 2 days a week? So I do think I don't want you to feel like you have, like, yes, you're representing the Star Academy and you're doing an amazing job, but I don't want you to feel pressured to do every single thing that they're going to ask you to do, because they are going to ask you to do every single thing. Because I've already heard about Sean from the superintendent, from Celsa. Like everybody's just like, he's amazing. Where have you been hiding him? I'm not. It's like, we're not hiding him, and I don't want you to like suck the life out of this poor person. So just a heads up that don't feel like I want you to attend all of these things.
No,
I
for
do
sure.
not.
For sure.
Yeah,
No.
and you forgot one meeting, the ambassador meeting.
Which ambassador meeting?
The parent and student ambassador meeting for District 1.
When's that?
That already passed. That was in December. You wasn't there. Another
Oh,
2
yes.
minutes.
I told them I wasn't gonna make it that one. Yeah, I remember
Yeah,
that.
so that's another meeting that's on top of everything else.
Yeah, for sure. So the one thing I would say too, along that line of thinking, is for the SLT meeting, maybe me and Marina could figure it out together. And if there's a month that I can't make it, maybe Marina goes, and we can switch off like that. Just so that we're making sure that we have that presidential presence at the SLT. Yeah.
Just make sure you send me the stuff. Every time I request something, you say, yeah, you're going to send it, but you don't send it.
So which stuff? Which
anything,
stuff
everything. I had told you the scholastics, the parent, the president meeting, just send it to me. Don't leave me in the dark.
So yeah, so with the Scholastic stuff, remember all that login information is in the shared document that we sent to everybody. So all the logins and stuff are there already. So if there's ever something that y'all feel like y'all haven't heard from me and y'all want to get on top of it, Scholastic Book Fair, Candygrams, all that kind of stuff, all those logins are in the document that we share with y'all. I'll reshare it with everybody so you have it. So you don't feel like you have to wait on me for it. So yeah, so in any case, there is a lot of meetings, but I think also too, having the visual and being able to put those meetings in your calendar is going to be very helpful, because I think it becomes a little bit more overwhelming too if you're not remembering that it's going to happen, and then it's like, oh snap, this meeting came up. So for sure, everybody put the board meetings and the general meetings into your calendars now, and make sure you have the dates reserved and all that kind of stuff, and let us know if there's any conflicts. All right, cool. So I lost track of my agenda here. So we already talked about the restructuring of the budget, forming the budget committee and restructuring the budget. Um, Helen, did you ever get to submit taxes? How did that end up shaking out? You're muted.
Sorry. The taxes will be done this Saturday.
Okay, cool. Nice. So at the next PTA meeting, we can report to everybody that that's happened on the finances front. Is there any support you need on that, or is all good?
No, I might need like a document or two, but we could just talk directly about that.
All right, cool.
It's not a hurdle. If I don't have it, to file it, it's not necessary to file.
Okay, cool. Oh, one other thing that came to my mind that we didn't put on the agenda, but that we had talked offline about is, Darlene, can you give us a that update on the opt-in and 5-day a week potential for in-person learning?
Yes, thank you. I was hoping that we'd have a chance to talk about
Uh,
it. So, how do I say this? We have been strongly discouraged from offering additional opt-in periods to families to do in-person learning. And so right now, we have been told that we are not allowed to do that. Knowing that as an SLT and a PTA, through our town halls, we've talked about the fact that we don't think that that's really fair to our families, because some families wanted to wait a little bit later in the year to see what was going to happen with the pandemic. So we're not going to be able to offer 2 opt-in periods anymore, but we are going to offer 1 opt-in period. It's just going to have to happen earlier than we anticipated. And so we are going to probably release the survey that we did before, the learning preference survey. We'll do another one and send it out to families to find out if there are additional families who want more in-person learning. We'll use that information to then figure out if we have enough space and staff to provide more days of in-person learning. Our goal is to try and increase it to 5 days a week. If we were to get if we weren't to have too many people who wanted to opt in, it's very likely that we'll be able to have 5 days a week for all the different grade levels. If we find that there are a lot of people who want to opt in to in-person learning, we may have to look at our schedule again, because we want to be able to welcome those kids back. And then we'll figure out whether or not how many days a week we will be able to provide to everyone. Our hope is that we will be able to go to 5 days a week, because I don't anticipate there are going to be that many people that want to opt in right now. If there are a lot of people that want to opt in, then we'll have to rethink our schedule for the 3rd time this year. And we will think about whether or not we need to go back to the cohort A and B model. And so those are kind of the 2 things in the air. We'll do the survey, we'll find out what families want to come back, and then we'll use that information to figure out whether or not we'll be able to move to 5 days. And that might be 5 days in certain grade levels. It might be 5 days in all grade levels. It'll really depend on the numbers and the spacing that we have. And then we'll also figure out, okay, if we don't have a lot of people opting in, then we will be able to do that 5 days. If we have a lot of people opt in, then we'll have to think about that cohort A-B model again. So that's the update. It's not ideal, to be quite honest with you. Like, this is not something that I'm happy about. But the Department of Education really wants us to move towards going to 5 days a week for the in-person families. And for me, they're not really taking into account our remote families. We have approximately 70 children that are supposed to be coming in person. On an average day, we have 33 kids. And so that means around 170 children are remote every single day. And so for us to not even provide those people with an opportunity to come back, it just isn't fair to me. And so that's why we're going to do it this way. And so I'm going to be having a town hall meeting at some point. I didn't want to mess up the PTA meeting and have people come to 2 meetings. So I wanted to wait until the PTA meeting took place. I will speak about it there for sure, but I don't want to make our whole PTA meeting about that. So I'll tell everybody in our PTA meeting that we're going to have a town hall meeting the following week, and that way I'll be able to take people's questions. By that point, the survey will probably already be out, and so if there are questions about the survey specifically, people will be able to ask them. But so this is where we're at, and of course, we're still going to have to figure out staffing and teachers and all of that, because while substitute teachers are wonderful, but they are not going to have the same level of engagement and rigor that our classroom teachers have. And so what Ms. Frieden and I are trying to do is, when we do get those numbers back, reassign teachers in ways so that we have a strong teacher with our remote students and strong teachers with our in-person students. And we'll have substitute teachers as well to support those teachers. But knowing that some of our teachers may have to do remote learning and in-person learning at the same time, because again, we want our kids to have the best teachers. And so it's going to be a little bit of a transition. But again, the goal is to make sure that every single child has, a really, really strong teacher working with them, whether they're in person or remote. And that's my spiel.
For sure. And that also too, I know I got it. I'm not sure if any of y'all else got it, but Jody circulated after the SLT meeting the proposed survey for review and feedback. So if you didn't get it and you're interested in giving feedback on it, let us know. We'll send it to you as well.
Yeah, if you want to look at the survey in terms of giving us feedback before we send it out, definitely let us know. We sent it out to the SLT committee and those families just because they're on SLT and that's where we're doing a lot of this stuff. But if any of you want to look at the survey, just send Sean an email or send me a quick email and I'll make sure Ms. Frieden includes you for sure.
I just have a quick question, Ms. Cameron. I'm just a little confused because I thought if the infection rate went above 3%, that then the schools would be shut down. And I think we're at like 9% now.
So I find that the closer we get to the threshold that they give, the more they move the threshold back. So first it was 3%, and then they said, no, we don't have to wait until 3%, we'll wait until 5%. And so then when it became 5%, then they said, no, we're gonna wait until 9%. And so now they're telling us that if the rate were 9% or higher, but I'm not sure they're actually going to close schools if that happens. I think they've said that when they did close the school, when we got to 3%, they reopened schools a couple of weeks later because a lot of people were unhappy that they closed schools. And so I don't know. I have a lot of people around me who keep saying, we're going to shut down again. We're going to shut down again. But I'm not sure that they actually want to do that. And I haven't seen evidence that they want to do that. And so I do think that they're either going to try and get vaccines to the teachers sooner and to the staff sooner because they just do not want schools to close.
And just one more question. The last time you had an opt-in, how many students came back?
That's a great question. So we had approximately 30 students that wanted to come back, right? And so we went from like 40 to like 70 kids. But ever since we've done the actual opt-in, we've never had more than 33 kids on site every day. So we're not sure how many more people are going to opt back in, especially knowing that what the rates are getting a little bit higher right now. Vaccinations aren't coming out as fast as people wanted them to come out. So yeah, so that's the information that we have right now.
And then just one last question, and I don't know if Brenda and Marina have.
Yo, you said that 4 times.
I know.
No, of course.
No, but I'm sure. Like,
don't even commit yourself to the last question.
No, like because it keep popping in my head. So let's say for the kids who are fully remote, let's say Yasmin, right? She has Miss Laird, and let's say she opts in, then who will that? Is it's gonna be a brand new teacher that she's never seen before. Right.
If she comes into the building, yes, it'll be a teacher that, well, I shouldn't say that it's a teacher she's never seen before because I'm trying to think if that particular grade level, if they have times where Miss Stein's class works with them.
Yeah, they do.
Right,
Miss
Miss
Stein.
Stein or Miss Epstein. There are times where they all will be online together, and so it'll be a teacher that she's seen before and she's worked with before, but it won't be Miss Laird who she sees every single day. It would be somebody who's here on site.
So Miss Stein is on site.
Miss Stein is on site, and then our other first grade teacher is Miss Epstein. Miss Epstein is a new teacher in our building, but she's been in our building for the past 2 years as a literacy coach. So that's somebody who's been a teacher and is advanced in teaching, reading, and writing, and she was supporting our teachers. Because of the pandemic, we asked her to teach in a classroom so that we have as many staff people on site again. As I said, I'd rather have somebody who I know is a solid teacher than a substitute teacher. I love substitute teachers, but I want, again, I think you know what I mean in terms of like, I want that rigor. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Last question. That's it. I'm done, John.
Yes.
Nah, you keep asking questions.
Yes, I'm here for that.
Has there been talk of in the DOE about the vaccine and what it looks like for teachers? Will it be mandated? Will it be something that's optional? And how's the union feel about it?
So I know, knowing any union, they're never going to make anything mandatory. They're never going to tell their members you have to do this. So I already know that's going to be a big fight with the city. I'm sure the city will want to mandate that every single DOE member get a vaccine, but I don't see the principals union or the teachers unions agreeing to that. I know that both of the unions are demanding vaccines. They want the opportunity and access to vaccines. And that's a big argument that I think is literally just started today. And I saw the UFC president on the news talking about the fact that they want teachers to be given a priority, because as of right now, they're saying that educators are not on the list to receive vaccines at all right now. We were in the beginning, and then we were removed, and for good reason. Like, I think they put, like, unfortunately, like senior citizens who are in nursing homes, people who are incarcerated, people who live in shelters. You know, it makes sense that those people need to get the vaccine first. But so we'll see what happens. I know the fire department has already started giving out vaccines. Mm-hmm. I think like 40% of the fire department has been vaccinated already. And I think that's what's going to happen. The Department of Education, if they really want to do the vaccine well, they have to take it on themselves and just say, we're going to give the educators the vaccine within our own sites and within our own stuff. I think that makes sense. And so that's probably not the way it's going to work, because every time we try and come up with a common sense solution, the DOE comes up with like a backwards solution.
That was something that was mentioned this morning in the news for each agency to appoint their own, to have them give out vaccines versus having a whole union going to the hospital, because then it overwhelms the hospital. Yeah. So that's good that they're like, they want their own set of vaccines.
Yeah. All right. So we'll see how that struggle shakes out. Yeah, and then next on the agenda, so our newsletter, we haven't gotten a newsletter out this year, and I think there's no stress behind that, right? It's not something that is mandatory to get out. It's something that we started last year. That's a good thing to get out, because it's another way for us to connect with parents and build our PTA up. But me and Marina had talked about it in the beginning of the year, and it was a monthly thing that we were doing last year. We could just try to do like a quarterly thing for the remainder of the year. Maybe got out 1 or 2 newsletters this year, maybe something around, the reading and the love of reading, kind of to support our Scholastic Book Fair. We already have the template set up. So Marina and I just need like a firm idea of what to go forward with, and then we can draft up some stuff to put in the newsletter. Anybody have any thoughts on the newsletter and what could go in there, and if they want to contribute to it?
I mean, it should pretty much promote with Dojo as well, like all events, all meetings. I mean, besides PCA, you could probably do what you just did to us, like, and put the SLT, since the SLT goes hand in hand with the PTA, put that also on the newsletter and stuff like that. I think that'll be nice to see. I'm trying to think what other else.
If you
So the
want, I
calendar,
could
you mean?
write like a paragraph about reading with kids at home and the value of reading at home. If you want, I could just like write like a little paragraph or something, like a message from the principal, if you want.
Yeah,
I
and
think
then
Sean
not
could do a message from the PTA president also.
but maybe like highlights, like we could kind of pick a teacher from each grade to just highlight I don't know, we'll have for everybody, but like just like how they do in the star assembly, how when they acknowledge kids and stuff like that. Maybe in the PCA we could actually put that, like all the kids that are, because I know my kids that mention it. Oh, I haven't seen my picture here, or I haven't received their award physically, saying they're a star student mathematician that they normally get. So maybe like at least putting it in the PCA letter, just to highlight the stars, the students, and stuff like that as well.
So maybe Jody has that list of like awards. Have we been doing those in the pep rallies and stuff? So we could like repurpose it inside the newsletter. That would be cool. And also too, maybe even in the newsletter, you just sparked the idea that maybe we also do a teacher appreciation section maybe in our newsletter. We don't have that many months left in the year, but we could do like uh, uh, just a group of teachers, like the first grade teachers or the fifth grade teachers, and just put a picture of them and a shout out to them kind of thing. Could be a lot of fun. And we already have all those images and everything that we can source from the website, so it's not much work for Marina and I to put it together.
I'm glad you said you and Marina, because I'm no good with tech at all. Like, I was okay.
It's easy. Marina, you got any thoughts on the newsletter?
No, pretty much what we put out there. Like if it's going to be, try to put as much. If it's going to be springtime, something with spring theme, anything have, anything that something with a theme. Because if we're going to do the anything with the stars, just something out there that it'll catch everybody's eye in a sense, Because some people just look at things and they overlook it. They'll see, okay, that looks too much reading, and then my husband's one of them. He'll look at one sentence and then he's like, oh wait, no, that has like 10 lines. I'm not reading it. So something that catches someone's eye to be like, oh, let me get into it and let me sit down and read it,
Yeah, like last year January we did like a New Year's themed newsletter. Then February we did a Black Lives Matter themed newsletter. Then in March we did a women's history themed newsletter. So those are definitely effective for sure. All right, cool. So Marina and I, maybe you can connect with me, and then we can offline we could figure out what is realistic for us to tackle, if we could do monthly, quarterly, whatever. Yeah, all right, those are some good ideas. So on the class picture update, so Brenda, you shared that resource, the Life Touch. Are you or anyone else available to follow up with Life Touch and figure out the different options that they have?
I know with one of my what is she? My parent coordinators from my side. I know she has like a direct email because she was dealing with that. I could ask her if she could forward me that information so I could actually get in touch with them and ask regarding for our school. I don't think it should be an issue because since I'm a teacher there, and then being, I'll just lead off now with my other kids, being on the PTA, we want to do this. So it's more business. I don't see they would decline or anything, but I could probably I have remote. I could probably get an answer or get in touch with somebody by like after 3 p.m. after I finish my remote sessions and stuff, and then
Oh
I'll
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah.
circulate. Yeah, I'll just circulate an email because I
Okay.
know a couple of parents were like, "What about school pictures?" Because I think the last that we had was from 2019,
Yeah,
October-ish.
Yeah.
yeah, because we didn't have a chance to, yeah.
So that was the last. So I'm like one of those parents. I like having the class pictures, and with all the family I have, they're like, we don't have pictures. We don't have pictures. I'm just like, they're not in school.
Yeah.
or well, they are, but they're not doing stuff like that. So, but I could definitely try to send an email or something out by like 3 p.m. and just follow up with you guys. So I don't have a problem.
All right, cool. Nice. So yeah, so maybe we'll have a reply back from them or something, or we'll have some options by our PTA meeting next week. And maybe we can let people know and get people's feedback on what they think would be good. But no pressure if you can't get it by next week. I know it's a lot to do in a week, but if possible, that would be a good thing to report at next week's meeting.
Live Touch, you could look in their website. It tells you if you want to contact us. It asks, and then it asks you what their role is. I'm looking at it right now. It says principal, school staff member, year advisory, and district official.
See, that's why I said I'm glad you asked Marina. You see how fast Marina did that? And I'm like, straight to the source.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So, all right, so Brenda will take care of that, and then I think that's it. So we just have to set the agenda for next week's meeting. So just reviewing what we discussed today, and then seeing if there's anything in addition that we didn't discuss today that we want to have the agenda next week. But definitely the book fair and the formation of a book fair committee, the formation of a budget committee, an update from Helen on finances, mostly, on the taxes submission, of Darlene's principals report, which I'm sure will be a big portion of the meeting, and then class pictures. Is there anything else that we wanted to get on the agenda? That's a pretty full, I think, agenda.
Yeah, I was like the
I
newsletter.
feel like
That,
it's going to be full.
yeah, I was like, yeah.
I don't know if we want to think about the February meeting to be the Title I meeting. I know Helen is going to be meeting with SELSA, and so they'll have their meeting, and then I guess Helen can let us know whether or not she wants the Title I meeting to happen after the PTA meeting in February, or if she wants to have it in March. I think Helen's frozen. Oh, there you are.
She froze blinking.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I froze. I didn't hear. I have my Title One training with Salsa on the 14th in the afternoon.
Perfect. Perfect. So we'll have plenty of time to figure out when you want to do it.
Okay.
Yeah, like historically, we've done it right after, which is good because we have the parents' attention at that time. I think there has to be like I don't know if we have to change Zoom meetings or if it could just be like, okay, we're closing this meeting and we're opening the next. So just ask Elsa that, like technically for the recordings and all that kind of stuff, what we need to do technically.
So
And
we
then-
don't have to close out the room. We can just make a general announcement that the PTA meeting is officially finished and we are now starting the Title I meeting.
Yeah. So maybe we could just like end recording and then start a new recording or something like that. And then also too, as if we do decide on doing the Title I meeting after the next PTA meeting, Helen, just let us know so that we can also take that in consideration when we're drafting the agenda and we're making sure that we're not having a 90-minute meeting with the PTA followed by a 30-minute meeting of the Title I. I think that'd be too much. So having like a little bit of a shorter of agenda so we can have that first Title I meeting of the year. Okay, cool. I think that's it then, unless we had any other thoughts or comments. I think we hit our 1 hour mark perfectly.
Actually have to run to a meeting for 11:30, so I'm gonna go. But thank you guys. I love this meeting.
Bye, Darlene.
You're the best.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too.
You too.
Bye.
Marina, what's on your shoulder?
Oh, that's my bearded dragon.
Is it alive?
Yeah, it's alive. I was just trying to warm him up because he's been like, I'm lazy, you know.
How old is
so-
he?
It's
Right
so
now he's like
big
2. Yeah.
compared
he's
to when
young.
She got it. She got it.
Yeah.
It was like this big.
Yeah,
Aw.
yeah.
You know what? I was like, that's an interesting scarf she's wearing.
What's his name?
Oh, Baba.
Baba.
Yeah.
Nice.
my son named him. I was like, he's just been laying around, and then he wants to be lazy. He wants me to give him the crickets and feed him by mouth. And I'm like, yo, you and the cat is getting lazy. I want me to do everything. Like, come on. So I was like, yo, let me take him out, let him do that. And then if you notice, he licked my ear. So I was like, the hell is wrong with you? So yeah.
His predator nature's not out.
Yeah.
He's being
He's
passive.
he's just lazy, with since COVID, because I can't get to stuff, like everything has been, they don't have it in stock, or, like the live crickets, things like that. I can't get no more. Everything is like on back order, and it's like, I guess he's getting bored. Like, okay, yeah, I'm done eating kale and these dry ass crickets, so.
I can't have crickets running around my house. I'll be so upset.
Yeah.
I like hearing them, but to see them,
it's not so bad. I mean, the thing is that, like, yeah, it just like reminds you like of a roach or something. But
and then they jump, so it's like,
yeah, and they jump. So if he's trying to get in, it starts jumping around. He's like, oh my God, so I got to move stuff out the way. And then he's like, okay, I'm done. There's too much action going on. So I try to put it all in a corner, and then he'll eat it. But now with COVID coming around, he's like not doing nothing. He's just like, yeah, okay, whatever. So I try to make sure he's good. Like, I'll take him out. I'll put him under the water so he could drink some water, because his ass doesn't want to drink it in the cup. So he's just like the cat. Like, I'd rather drink it from the faucet than doing it this way. So it's like, another kid,
Everyone's getting affected by the pandemic. All right. Now I gotta go. I gotta run too. I'll talk to you soon.
yeah, I
Have
gotta
a
set up
great
Follow
for
with each
remote
other.
as well. All
All
right,
right.
guys. Until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.